So as we're going live, I'm gonna go ahead and start messaging some people to let them know we're live in the building. So give it about 1 or 2 minutes so we can hit people up, let them know we in the building. Um, Send out this link. Y'all can small talk, while y'all waiting. Y'all can small talk.
But
what?
I seen Bomecka and Hammer was out there wrestling bears in Tennessee, man.
No, I wasn't wrestling no bear, bro. I was running.
Y'all was out there. Apparently, y'all was taking pictures, and the bear wanted to get in the picture.
Oh no!
Y'all don't know. All three of these brothers and sisters, they went to a family reunion in Tennessee, and found out there's a lot of stuff to do in Tennessee, man. And I didn't even know.
What y'all with the Pigeon Forge?
Yeah,
we was right there. We was right there.
Yeah,
we was in Gatlinburg, and then
Gatlinburg. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then we went fishing. We had to pass Pigeon Forge, and we went to oh man, it's by a dam. They had right by the dam. It's called. They had the dam. Then the bait shop was called Damn Good Bait Shop, and right across the street from the bait shop was Damn Good Ice Cream. It was funny.
And the cool thing about Tennessee that I didn't know was there's a whole bunch of tourist stuff to do, man.
Man, I drive through it. I never been to it, but I got a couple of people. Anytime like they say they finna go to the mountains, like it's either to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. So I know it's one of the two. So that'd be like the first thing that come to mind. And like one of the guys I know, he's like, "Man, dude, you got to go when you get your chance, man. This shit is awesome." Like, I check it out.
No, it was. I mean, they were showing me pictures and like the cabins that they had. I mean, they're beautiful cabins, bro. Like they had like one of them had like a 10 seater, a 20 place, 20 room cabin. But they nice, like they're real nice, like and you got you see wildlife right there, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, like there was actually a bear, like a mother and her two cubs, like rolling through when they was taking family pictures, man.
Nah, I think I've been a little nervous on that.
But they're black bears, though. Black bears aren't really gonna attack you unless you mess with them.
Yeah, one of the things that I realized about Tennessee, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of Central Florida, where life kind of slows down for you. That's one of the things that I take out of Tennessee. Like it was a lot slower paced. I didn't think about any of the things that I would normally wake up and think about. Totally change the frequency that you're in when you're in South Florida, and then you go up to somewhere up in the mountains, and it was just beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely buy a property out there. Like definitely.
Yeah, and the dope thing is the property is a lot cheaper than a lot of other places too.
Those when we found out how much those cabins were, how much it was, like $1 million cabins.
$1 million
What?
man.
$1 million cabins, man. Them cabins were amazing. Some of the cabins had, I know my aunts had a cabin that had a pool downstairs. Game
on the inside.
On the inside. Theater room.
And the other thing, he told me, I mean, bro, because imagine getting $1 million cabin, right? And you got like a mansion level thing. If you out here in California, you buy $1 million, man, my mom's house is $1 million house, bro. That was like, it was nice. You know, it was nice. You know what I'm saying? But like, it was like 3 bedrooms.
$1 million in Tennessee is definitely different than $1 million in California.
You living different. And you can rent it out.
I can tell you that. I see it every 2 weeks. I see it.
You definitely got to look at it like this. So the property value, like when you look at the cabin, like I was telling a friend the other day, like it's not a residential, so it's commercial. So like I was telling my friend, like if you want to get into like really real estate investing, go the commercial route because they're just appraised differently. So although the cabin doesn't look like $1 million cabin, but the revenue that they generate is $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're generating that type of money.
And then too is how much acreage is that is on also, and what you could do on that acreage.
Yeah, so what they were saying is you could buy land and actually get a cabin built, and that it was a property management, because we thought it was although it was a resort, each of those cabins were owned by
privately
people.
owned.
Oh,
Privately
sure.
owned. And so they're property managed by a company that comes in, obviously changes out trash and all this stuff, but they were privately owned. And so
which means
it was a great thing. I didn't realize, like Colin said, is like there's so much that we weren't aware of upon going into Tennessee on how much stuff there is to do in Tennessee. It's like a lot of stuff, you know, that you can do.
Hey, I was out there zip lining and everything, man.
Our cousins went zip lining.
Yes, sir.
Our younger cousins went zip lining.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they went zip lining. I think I seen some pictures on there, Hammer. You saw some pictures? I think I saw.
Oh, like yeah. Trey had put some.
I know you could zip line. Probably got rode ATVs through the mountains and all that.
My daughter zip line. Treyshana went zip line.
Yeah,
you want to okay.
And then you could also you could rent the ATVs. There's a lot of stuff, man. Like we were like, I would say my biggest regret is just like we should have added 2 more days. You know, we should.
Yeah.
Because you know when you first get there, it was a 12-hour drive from where we're at in Florida. So we got there that Thursday afternoon. After that, you kind of like, I just want to chill. And then that Friday, you linking up with your family, and so y'all just get into the groove of just chilling with each other, you know. So we'd have 1 more day. I think it would have been
activity day.
I got you.
But it did feed the appetite, you know, makes you say, you know, we definitely got to go back to Tennessee. So that's one of the great things about that. So anyway, I done text people, getting more people in this room. So let's get it started. This is gonna be touchy. So actually that was a great segue about when you bringing up the
actually.
Thank you.
Welcome, man.
Because it actually gave me the topic that we're gonna talk about today, which is blood ties and family, right? One of the things that I've noticed with family members, reunions, a lot of people say, we come together for funerals where we don't see each other outside of this thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially my first encounter with Florida, because we were in Michigan at the time, that comes to memory is coming down to Florida to bury my great grandmother, right? And so every time we came to Florida, it was to bury somebody, you know what I mean, or a funeral. And so one of the things that happens is with family is we begin to become estranged. We hold grudges with certain family members. People hold grudges with their parents, their siblings. And then towards the end, like Colin says, you're going to die. At some point, everybody dies. And then you don't want to be at someone's funeral and say, dang, we lost so much time. Can't even remember what we were fighting about. Now this person is gone. Or you link up with someone at a funeral that you haven't spoken to in a while. And obviously what happens is at a funeral makes you kind of say, dang, it's not good to hold these unnecessary grudges with people. So I guess my first question to start this off is, one, I'm asking everyone in the panel, have you ever held a grudge or had someone hold a grudge that is a family member that you realize wasn't a big deal? Or are you still holding a grudge with a family member that isn't a big deal when you really think about it, in comparison to the things that are going on in the world? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's keep this first round. Let's try to do everybody answer the question in around 2 minutes. And so we can get to the next part of this discussion. So who wants to go first? Who's volunteering?
I'll go first.
You got
it. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. As far as I go, no, I have not held a grudge on a family member. I learned at an early age not to hold grudges, period. And my little quick story is I got mad at a dude was talking to a girl that I wanted to talk to. He was my homie. It was like 7th grade. And it physically made me mad. And my physical reaction to that was my eye twitching. I said, I'm getting mad at this dude for something I got no control over, and it's affecting me because my eye twitching. And that from then on, I don't hold grudges on anybody. Now, have I seen it? Yes. Oh yeah, man. Especially because I'm an only child, so like the ones who got siblings, like multiple, like 3 or 4 kids in the house or something like that, and somebody gets something that they thought they should have got. I see it all the time, man. And it's like, yeah, it ain't even worth it. But they go, oh man, she know I wanted that car. I should have got that car, man. She don't even do this, this, and this. How you gonna give it to my sister? My sister don't care. I seen that. And like, nah, I don't want no part of it. But as far as me holding grudges on family members, nah, I don't.
Interesting. I would say what's up, C Ryder in the building. So I think the main grudge that I had for majority of my life was with my mom. It was like the immediate family, and it was the stupidest thing. It was like a childhood issue. All she did was not give me some Snicker bars when I was 2 years old. And from that point on, I literally did not. I thought she was selfish. I thought she was mean. I thought like she didn't love me. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole lot I was beefing. Now, not doesn't mean that she didn't do other things, but like that was the core thing. Like she didn't give me a Snicker bar. And then when I was 8 years old, I was playing saxophone, and she came home, and I was practicing my first day practicing, and she was like, "Dang, when are you gonna get good? Because I can't take all this noise." And at that point, it crushed me. I was pissed off. She don't love me. She don't support me. She don't care about me. I'm gonna be great, and then she's never gonna be able to come to my shows. And so that's the grudge that I held up against her. And all the other stories that happened in life, like they were informed by that preconceived notion. So I held that grudge until I was 28 years old.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And it was like, it's not like that. That's not something. Those 2 instances aren't worthy of me having the type of relationship that I had with her. Now, there were other things that probably would have actually made more sense to not have a relationship with her during that time. Whoopings that I got for, I think was for nothing, verbal abuse and things like that. But those things weren't the ones. Like that wasn't the experience. It was those 2 major freaking breakdowns.
Bo, you fragging out, Bo. Want you to know you are fragging out once again. Go ahead, Jay Samaj.
I really don't hold no grudges. I don't recall ever holding a grudge. It's just something I do. It's not sexy, So
I'm gonna mute Jay Samaj. You muted. I just can't.
I will say this though, on the grudge holding thing, I have had, just like Tim, I have that my father is like the best at holding grudges and the worst at it at the same time. He's held grudges from times when he was, 6 years old against a church that he won a Bible competition, and he stuttered, and it was hard for him to finish it, but he got it, and he got it all right, and he won, but they didn't give him the bell. Like the prize was this little bell that you get, and he didn't get it. He held that grudge for his entire freaking life, and he was always angry. So I wanted to not hold grudges like that. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to, because he was always angry. Every time we talked about church or the bell or anything like that, he would just instantly right back there, right there, just as angry as he was when they were laughing at him and teasing him or whatever.
Yo, what's good? What's good, Valera? Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead.
Good, Valera?
What's good, Valera? Oh, Valera, I know Valera got some on this. Go.
So yeah, that's my parents. Oh yeah, there you go, Bo. We go back. Go ahead, Bo.
Yes, I have held grudges. I learned to not held grudges because when I did, it seemed like everything I tried to do right just wouldn't come through. And I think because I was holding on to so much negativity, and then once I just, learned to just let that stuff go, stuff started getting better. So that was my lesson, was like holding on to negativity is never good.
And so I'm gonna let some of the hold on. I got a comment over here before I get into the next part of this. I was mad at my dad for a few years when I was younger. Why was you mad? Let it out. Put it out here on online Cookout. So one of the, like I told you guys before, so at the family reunion, and this is what I'm thinking, that there's definitely a connection when you have family, right? When you have that family, there's definitely something there that exists outside of your normal friends, which is that lineage, which is that blood tie, that blood bond, right? So I always say that, like for my brother, if he were to do anything and me and him being in plenty of fights, at the end of the day, I always associate, like, man, that's my brother. At the end of the day, we got to figure it out because that's my brother, right? But in today's era, right, especially in Western civilization, we learn, and it's easier for us to move away, right? So I say Tim's my brother, we get in an argument and I don't want to talk to him no more. I eventually moved to California, and since Tim is in Florida somewhere, it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't talk for 10 years, right? Then we come together because someone in our family passed, and then we're kind of looking at each other like, damn, we lost 10 years because we were arguing about a girl. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like I say, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, if you don't have family, and a lot of people take family for granted, right? So we can have big families and to be arguing amongst all those family members, but you'll have people that are going through adoption agencies. They spend their life just trying to find one person that's in their family, one relative, one cousin that they could say, man, this is somebody that shares a similar origin story, that has a lineage that we can go back and trace back. Oh, how are we cousins? Or how are we, you know, that? But people that have family, they're willing to throw all that away sometimes and hold a grudge that is unnecessary. So at what point, me and Colin talked about this earlier, at what point do you not hold a grudge, right? But also let go whatever you had between them. And like me and Colin said earlier in a private conversation, that just because you relinquish the grudge, so to speak, doesn't mean that you don't have to talk to them or be around them like that. You're just letting go of the resentment, letting go of the pain, because ultimately holding a grudge is like holding a grudge against yourself. So what do you guys think about that?
I can shoot it first. One of my family, first and foremost, my family dynamic is pretty daggone good, man. I'm the only child, so my cousins are like my brothers and sisters, and it's a pack of them from my mama's side to my daddy's side, and so from each one of them I learned something. I got a cousin, man, who got this kind of his process of grieving, whatever that is, whether it's a grudge or whatever. He said, I'm not going to grieve or get mad or hold anything for more than 3 days. He said, if I got to call in on it, if I got to call out on it, whatever. If it's something that's going to make me cry, I'm going to go ahead and cry about it in private. But on that 3rd day, I ain't got no more tears for it. That's that. So whatever that grudge is, man, yeah, she did me wrong, whatever. Let me get this out of me right now, and then we could talk about it by day 4. If I'm over it in a day, then I could talk about it the next day. As far as I go, my grudge holding, I don't hold a grudge for long, man. I don't. I after that experience, like in 7th grade, but I quit. I could be mad for a day, yeah, but after the day, I'm pretty good. And it's just like, I guess I have a separation within myself. Like, okay, that happened there. Let's go to the next day, and whatever it is, because there's nothing I can do about it. Or if for that way you like, if there's nothing that's if something happens and I got over it, do I need to talk to that person again? I guess we could try to see where the details or where the definite details kind of deviated from, and if we can't get a we can't reconcile over that, then it's okay to be like, you know what, that's good. I'm not mad anymore, but we just have a failure to communicate, and we can move on from there. That's on me.
Yeah. So Ray family says,
I'll put it back up.
Yeah, Ray family says, I'm like Tim. I've originally never held a grudge against family nor friends. I've always felt like doing that would require too much of my energy, which I don't care to give. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Colin,
yeah, I think that's the point. Yeah, that's
Let
a
me
poignant thing. Is like, cause say you're with a family member that may be abusive or something like that, right? And they did something that is egregious, right? The balance between, okay, I'm not gonna hold that grudge against you. I'm not gonna keep that lack of forgiveness in my heart, like, because I'm not about to be pissed off. I'm not about to have a heart attack or a stroke over this, or an aneurysm. I'm not about to put up my high blood pressure over this. Like, I'm not about to do that, right? But the balance is between doing that, like letting go of the transgression, but at the same time holding a standard, like whether we're still going to communicate with each other, whether we're still going to deal with each other, holding that standard, like, here, if you don't treat me better than this, then we don't engage. Where I'm not angry at you anymore. I'm not pissed off. I'm not holding anything against you. I just aware, oh, this is a person that I just don't want to deal with because they have certain characteristics, and certain mannerisms, certain actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that, and that way you can still keep yourself, protected from whatever negativity that they may have. But at the same time, you're not holding on to that negativity yourself. And that's what I found to be the best scenario, where I was like, I've seen people in my family that like my own brother, the dude has made some really stupid decisions in his life. That has caused like death threats to be put on our family. Because of that, I just be like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to deal with you, because if I deal with you, I'm going to jail. So it's best for me to just back away. What happened?
Hold that thought and say what's up to this person right here.
Ray family. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Crystal. How you doing? That's what's up.
All right.
She went to Norland, Tim. Like, we're just talking about Norland a little bit earlier.
Bo, I want you to go. Let's get back to what Valère is talking about. And I'm going to ask you, Valère says this. He says, we all want to wish our family is different from strangers, but sometimes they cut deeper.
Absolutely.
Let me follow up with the next one. Think the grudge there caused the hurt, betrayal feels different when it's fam that tries you. But what do you have to say about that? What do you think? Have you had friends, that family that cut you deeper than what a friend would do? And why do you think that we feel that the pain that a family member causes is worse, so to speak, than what a friend would do?
Well, for me, a friend is someone I choose to, associate myself with or be with. It's a choice. Family, I didn't choose you. You know what I'm saying? It's just family that this person married this person, had kids, and they all connected. And for me, there is an instant, there is someone in my family that I have extended my hand to. And that person, used my kindness for weakness. And because they were family, I chose to extend that branch again more than once.
Right. Yeah.
And because they were family, and the difference is if they was a friend, you cross me one time, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? A friend, I choose to be around you. So you know what I'm saying? You do something to me, harmful, or I'm moving away from you. Family, for me, it's like, okay, I'm your family, so I'm gonna deal with you with the long spoon. I'm not gonna completely cut you off. It's hard for me to cut family off. Friend, it's easy for me to cut you off because I don't have to be around you. I don't have to see you at the family cookout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to see them on online cookout.
You're right. But family, eventually I'm gonna see you. You know what I'm saying? Or you attached to someone, because we're family. So have you talked to this person? Oh, y'all need to sit down and talk. There's other elements to that because we are related. But yes, I don't have a grudge against this person. I just chose not to deal with this person. After the last incident, I was like, I'm done. You're a narcissist and I can't have it.
Right.
That doesn't mean that if this person came to me in a dire situation that I wouldn't be there. They're family, so I would. But as far as dealing with them, I just chose not to. And that's after several times of extending my hand. Like I said, if it was a friend, the first time you burn me, we gone. Like, there's no explanation. You calling my phone. Why you don't call me anymore? I don't need to tell you that. We're done. We ghost.
All right, Jay Samaj, let's get to this. Do you want to answer that? You want to fill in on that question?
The writer says some people suck at forgiveness, and ending a grudge requires that. I would agree. You have to be open to forgive, and sorry, I'm still reading it. Ending a grudge requires that. Yeah, okay. So I lied. I lied. I did have a grudge before, but I can't say the grudge. I can't tell you the grudge. But I had a grudge before.
Right.
That, but now I don't hold grudges against people these days. But when I was young, yeah, I did hold a grudge. But yeah, you have to be willing to forgive. You have to be willing to forget. Well, not forget, but forgive. And you do have to. It takes some forgetting as well, because when you forgive somebody, you're pretty much saying that you let all that stuff go from the past and moving forward.
Nah, I don't do that.
Is it forgiveness?
I don't do that.
Is it forgiveness then?
No. See, I forgive them, right? I was like, I don't harbor any ill intent towards them. You know, hey, like, I love you, but until you repent, until you change, like what the thing is that caused that transgression, whatever it was, I'm not dealing with you again. All right, so it's like I'm not angry at you. I'm not. There's no upset inside me. But there still is a standard in order to engage with me. That's how I am. So yes, I may forgive you. For instance, I forgave my mom, right? Like I forgave my mom for that and all of the actual real life abuse, you know, not the Snickers and the damn saxophone comment. You know what I'm saying? I let go, me personally, I let go of all of that. Like I opened up my heart again and loved her. And at the same time, when she did certain things, when she was dealing with my little brother who was selling drugs for the cartel and then getting hits put out on the family because he stole the damn drugs, and I had to then come in and protect. I had to literally come in and be like, I will kill somebody for you.
We might have to mute you on that one. We don't want the cartel knowing that you putting that.
No, I mean, his dad ended up paying them off, you know, and reimbursing and saving his butt.
Right.
But the whole thing is, you know, I'm not going to deal with her after that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, I'm cool with you. We made a deal. If you want to deal with me, that's cool. But you can't deal with him. Now, if you deal with him, then you're going to be dealing with me and him, and I can't deal with him. So it's best for me to just step back. I love you. I forgive you for what you did. I don't even think you did anything wrong, that you're a mom. But I can't involve myself inside that space. So I forgive the transgression, but I don't forget the practices. And so until that changes, they're not back in my life.
I gotta mute you. Dr. Farm said mute him. I'm muting him, Dr. Farm. I'm muting him. He gonna get us all doggone done up. Hold on, let me get Dr. Farm said mute him. No. We all know who that is. We all know who that is. So listen, I don't necessarily think people suck at forgiveness. Maybe they are good at learning a lesson. What's the true definition of holding a grudge versus moving on from bad energy? I would say, and I will ask everybody else on the panel after, I would say the difference between holding a grudge and moving on from bad energy is, how does it make you feel when you hold then for moving on from bad? For moving on from bad energy is like, I just don't want to be in the same space as you, because obviously you have bad energy and we just don't resonate together. We shouldn't be vibrating in the same space together. Holding a grudge is an actual emotional attachment and bad feelings behind that on why you're moving on. Like I can move on. Me and Kyle was talking about this earlier. I can not talk to somebody. I could talk to somebody. They could be in the same space as me. They never know that I'm just not messing with them like that no more. I just reserve my energy, my true energy from them. You know, like some Goku stuff, like hiding my true power level. Not letting them all know how I really feel, which is, you know, none of their business unless they ask me like, yo, why you don't talk to me like that anymore? Because I don't mess with you like that. But it's not a grudge. It's not a feeling of negativity towards them, because that in return, that grudge changed you. And you also have to constantly remind yourself every time you see that person, you have to remind yourself that I don't like this person. I'm not talking to this person for this reason. And then all those emotions get flooded back to the surface on why you guys are not vibrating. And sometimes you can hold a grudge for so long with people, and it could be such a petty grudge that you both have no idea how the initial grudge even started. You don't even remember why you're not talking to each other. And that's the thing that I want to touch on. And both touched on it as well. like she gives, family members a long spoon, meaning that, she still is welcoming them, but I'm giving you some space. When is that? I think somebody answered that. Let me see. Somebody put a comment in there. Is how many times, are there times where your friends do more for you? I already know the answer to this question, but are there times where your friends do more for you than your actual family does? Have you experienced that in your life?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, for me, I actually learned this lesson from my father, man. He said,
Yeah,
like, you could
I
have,
have.
he said, look, you could have people that just came out of the same, womb, a couple generations back as you, or even at the same womb as you, and you could be closer to a person that, you met halfway down your lifeline. And that person will save your life. Like my dad's best friend was a guy who literally saved his life the first day that he met him. And he trusts him to this day still with his life. And my two best friends, one of them is in here. Like when my family would kick me out, they took me in. You know what I mean? Like my boy Valera, he's right here. My two best friends in the world. There are only two people in this world. Like and sometimes my girl be like getting upset at this, right? But there's only two people in this world that I will always do anything for. No matter what happens, if I got to drive across the country to save a life, do whatever, I'm going to do that. But these are people that have been so close to me, and they've been there for me in ways that my own family has let me down. So that goes to that story of the blood is thicker than water. That actually is a mistranslation from the original thought process, which is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Saying that, when you make an agreement with somebody, that is actually more important of a bond than just being in a bond of a womb, which is just your blood, right? So that's where that originally comes from. So I think it's been kind of flipped and misinterpreted, where if somebody rocks with you, they rock with you, blood or not. And then it's harder to try on the inverse, which is like if somebody don't rock with you, they don't rock with you, blood or not.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pose a question though. And my question is, do you think it's easier for you to ask for a favor from a friend than a relative?
Yeah, it is for me. It is for me.
Bo?
Yo, can you hear me?
You can hear?
Huh?
I don't know what happened. It's fragging out again.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think I was on mute.
Oh. Is it easier for you to ask for a favor from a friend? Can you hear us? Bo.
Frag.
How about you, Jason Mosh?
Yeah, I think it's easier to ask favor from family than a friend.
I can hear you.
I would say,
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Is it easier for you to ask for a favor from family or from friends? All right, Bo, I'm muting you.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing that Hamilton said, because obviously we're in the same family. It's easier. It's definitely easier for me to ask a family member for something than a friend. Let me get to this question right here. Well, statement. One thing about a lot of military families is that the work itself can isolate people from their biological families. I'm glad this is a great segue, Rosemary. I appreciate you. And a lot of what they go through fosters these in-depth bonds, at least for and then she says, season, right? I will echo that, right? Just based on us going through this family reunion, and as I told Collins knows this, we're all me, Bo, Ham, Jay Samaj, we're all military brats. Our father was in the military. So originally we're all in, at one point we moved to Michigan. And that's where my mom's side of the family, a large part of her family resides in. And then we move away, we go to Germany, Hawaii, Florida, Kansas, Arizona, we go to all these different places. And so at one point it's very, we just have our nucleus, my mom, dad, brothers. And so that's who we relied on. Right. When I got into a fight, I called my sister. When she was older than me, she come in and beat the hell out of these boys. You know what I'm saying? She did. My sister fight like a guy. And but and so then what ended up happening is, you know, you have your mom's side of the family, your dad's side of the family, and these people, their cousins, are still around each other regularly. And so then when we get back together, I told them, like, it's like, remember in Color Purple, when Sophia comes home and she says, I don't know y'all no more, right? That's how it feels. You see all these different bonds that your other cousins have with each other, and you want to share into that, bond as well. And you realize one thing that I realized at the family reunion is, damn, you know, one thing that we have in common is that lineage. You know, seeing my grandmother, she's my grandma's what? Grandma Maggie's like 84, like 83, 84 years old.
Oh, she's like 88, but I don't know.
No, she's not 88, boy. She 80.
You gonna have to see her next time. She gonna get you. She gonna get you, boy.
And my grandma's 88.
You know what I'm saying? And seeing that, and seeing her watch all these generations, and seeing her as the grand matriarch, and she's outliving all the males that were in the family, and watching her look at all these generations, and it made me appreciate that lineage, right? It made me say, wow, there's something more here than just having a friend. Like, I'm talking to somebody that I'm connected to by blood, and we can go back and trace our origin. And it made me say, you know what? Sometimes I give family less, a shorter stick than I would give a friend. Right. And you people always say, well, your friends, your family seems to hurt you more because they know more about you. Right. A lot of time you don't let friends as close as you would let your family. Your friends ain't see you wake up and brush your teeth and do all this stuff. Your family's right there. So they know the most about you. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I was saying is that one of the things that we lack, especially in Western civilization, in families, is we lack that code of ethic, those guidelines that indigenous and villages once had, right? Yeah. Certain rules and guidelines that you establish as a family. A lot of families don't have any rules or guidelines. So when you don't have any of those things put into place, you allow certain family members to get out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And then it can destroy, like, one family member getting out of pocket can destroy a whole family. I've seen families, think about this. I've seen families, a parent die, and the whole family goes into disarray because they can't, the parent that died didn't leave a will or anything put into place, and it goes into probate court, and now the whole family is arguing about an estate.
Yep.
And now they don't want nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But what they don't realize is, as I was explaining earlier, when you die, right? Me and Tim can be buried side by side. 1,000 years from now, when they dig up those bones, they're like, oh, I wonder what relationship these two males, they were males. I wonder what their relationship was. They do a genetic test, or they're not related. I wonder who they were together. But then me and my brother find out who was related to the brothers in the origin story behind it. That's
you fragging out
why,
a little bit.
Oh, I thought it was me, man.
Why you fragging a little bit?
History, blood.
Yeah, he fragging out, man. Hey,
yeah.
Rituals, ties, lineage. They all
it's catching up now. It's still catching. Well, one of the things that he did, I'll take over for him while this thing catches up, is one of the things that he talked about is that, like, with the code of ethics, like back in the day, if you were in the village and you were forsaking the village and you weren't rocking with the tribe the way, they gave you a certain amount of transgressions that you did, you had the option of banishment. Like, that was a possibility. And then you can have to go out there. What he said was like, hey, yeah, you got to go out there and fend for yourself out in this world, without the blessings of the tribe, without the protection of the tribe, and then maybe you start to get a perspective that will allow you to remember, like, hey, dang, there's something I took for granted. We don't banish people as much today. I've excommunicated a number of my family members. Like I've excommunicated, like, no, we're done. Like I banished them from my kingdom. And that's something that, but there's got to be it's not just because, oh, well, you took something that was mine, or you ate my last piece of chicken. It can't be for something that's so like just small, which is what we tend to beef about within our families. You know what I mean? It's got to be something egregious. It's got to be something significant, and for us to even do that. And also, we would take time doing that. Like we would sit there, get with the family, and let's talk about this. Let's bring this together. See if we can come to a head on this. See if we can come together on this first before we go to the part of like, okay, well, we squabbing and we dipping, or whoever lives is the one who gets the rule type thing. And we've lost a lot of our conflict resolution skills within our communities because we don't really know what to do when these things happen. Which, because we can't necessarily do all the same things that we would necessarily do with our friends. Like you can't just beat up your brother, like for real. You know what I mean? You can't really do that. Like, so it's one of those things. But hey, we got Dr. Pierre in here. Go ahead and let him know what's up, man.
Oh my God. Can you guys hear me? Good night. Good night.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Everyone doing good?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys chat while I was driving up here, man, and I thought it was interesting, talking about family and the potential hurt and how you can go about healing and forgiving and giving a second chance. It's a pretty interesting topic,
Yeah. So have you ever like had an experience with where your family member or your friend might do a similar thing, but you either let one of them stay in and one of them stay out?
No, not really. See, I have a very small circle of family, and I consider some of my closest friends even closer to me than family. Right? Because I think, we don't choose our family, but we can choose our friends. And as a friend, if I find that you intentionally hurt me or do something that would hurt me, I'm done. You know? As family member, like Bo was saying, I'll keep you arm's length away.
Yeah.
I'll still help you if you need help, but I don't need you close to me.
Right.
Just because I don't want you to hurt me again, because I wouldn't do something to intentionally hurt family members or friends.
Yeah.
Now unintentionally, it happens. Yeah. And I think if I can sit down, I could see, okay, if I could see myself doing that or making that mistake, I'd forgive the person. But if it's something that I know the person knowingly did, right, with the intention to cause harm, I'm done. Because the way I see things is, if you can get away with, if you can do it once and I forgive you, you'll probably try it again and ask for forgiveness. So I had a real small circle of friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But it was a really good topic, Bo, and I liked your response.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that that forgiving, I teach people, hey, forgiveness is for yourself. Forgive the person, and then make your choices accurately. What my dad taught me was, hey, never be a respecter of persons. And I mean, just because a person is in a space of authority doesn't mean that you got to see them as authority, or just because they're in a space of family doesn't mean you got to see them as family. And so what I like to do is just look at every individual as an individual. Like if you're an individual that happens to be my cousin or my brother or my mother or my father, I'm going to still deal with you like I would deal with this person over here and that person over here, because for me, it just seems wiser to give everybody their just desserts. Like, hey, how do you treat me? And then, how do I treat you will be based on that. It's not going to be based on how long I've known you. It's not going to be based on who knows who. But I will say this, what I've noticed when, I think when Dr. Pierre, when you were sharing, and also when Bo was sharing, is that I will give, I just realized that it's easier to get in if they're family. Like I've had situations where like my friends, they got to go through a selective process for me to be like, I'm really going to let you in. Right. But I've had the experience where I met a family member and like Yo, and I mean, we're not even close. Like they grew up on a different island. You know, they're from Trinidad. Every time I went to Grenada, I never seen them. But then I happened to see that we were doing like similar things, and we were from this, like we looked the same. And he's a whole generation underneath me, and it's from my grandfather. My grandfather had 26 kids. So talk about family, like there's hundreds of us by now. Like just on in our lineage. So, but I automatically let him in. I was like, yo, cuz. And so I automatically, you know, gave him that hug and like, hey man, what you doing? Hey, anything you up to, man, let me know. I'm in support of you. And I don't do that with every human being. You know what I mean? So,
all right. Hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Come back in, man. Come back in.
I should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. I do got Drew at the bottom. He's in there at the bottom.
You can take me out and then let Drew come in.
All right. What you say, Drew? He's waving. You don't want to come in right now? You scared?
He don't want that mute button. He don't want to get muted.
He's scared of the mute button. All right, Drew, I'm gonna get to you in 1 second. Let me get through some of the comments on the side over here. Let's see who said something interesting. Oh, okay. We got Roxanne Harley in the building. For me, it's much harder to ask family, especially Caribbean folks, as they like to shame you and hang it over your head. Again, I would say this, Roxanne, and then I will let Dr. Pierre go because he's of Caribbean descent. Is that what I said earlier before I lagged out? Is that a lot of, since we moved over here to the Western Hemisphere, we've lost, like I said, those guidelines that you have to establish on how to properly manage family. That's what a lot of families lack. They do not have the ability, right? Or they lack the ability to have that basic communication, because these are a lot of learned behaviors that we've learned from other cultures, right? Because shaming people, that is not what, you know, cultures do. It's a village. And that's one of the things that it's easier for people to run from their problems today than it was when you're in the village. When you're in the village and your neighbor is your brother and your friend, and you all got to get along for the betterment of the village, then you're able to work things out. And you have a lot of village elders. That's what we're lacking too. Elders in your community that's going to say, hey, Jamare, Collins, sit down. Y'all need to talk to each other because what you're arguing about is dumb. And the group is bigger than you two. All right?
You have people that do that today, though, and a lot of the younger kids don't listen. The younger generation don't listen to the elders.
I got a question for you when you say that. When we talk about the younger generation and a kid who was raised without his father, because remember, 70% of, you know, our coaches raised without both parents in the household. Mm-hmm. If you're raised without your father, are you going to listen to some random dude who's telling you something?
Exactly. Nope.
No. You know what I'm saying? I know when a kid, when I meet a kid and they tell me F my dad, I'm like, okay, well, there ain't much I can say. Because if you don't respect your dad, it's going to be hard for you to respect me as a man. Let's go. C. Ryder said it's true. Let's one more.
Can I say something?
Oh, go ahead, Bo.
So, my kids didn't grow up per se around Jamare and Hamilton and the other ones because we lived away. But and my son didn't really grow up around his father. But I made sure that he had connections to the males in his family. And I think if you're in a single parent household, especially a single mother, if the father is not there, you need to look to other males in your family to be there for your children to have that connection. I don't want to tell my son's business, but when he was going through the man stage of life, you know, I didn't understand that because I was a female. I knew from books and reading, you know, going to school, you know, about what guys go through when they go through, you know, growing up. But I'm not a man. So I called Jamare, I called Hammer, I called my dad, I called, you know what I'm saying, his great uncles and all that stuff like that for him to have guidance, because as a woman, I don't understand it. And I think and family, we should definitely do that. If you can't always a person is not going to be there if they don't want to be there, and you cannot force them to be there. But there's other people around you, be it friends that you consider family or family members that can step in, you know what I'm saying, and, takes the ring, so to speak. Like you said, it takes a village, and you need to utilize everything you can within your village. I think a lot of single moms don't. We get this thing, well, I'm doing it on my own, so I need to figure everything out. But me, I was like, I'm not figuring everything out. There's things I'm not going to be able to figure out, and I'm not going to hurt my child because I want to try to figure it out and do it on my own.
See, and that's big on you for recognizing that, and also it's big on Jamare for seeing that what needs to be done is stepping in. And it kind of goes back to what you're saying is about the village. Everybody's talking about the village. I'm like, man, yeah, the village is not the village anymore. As far as on my side, like my family, it's different because it's kind of I'm from a small town, man, little town, Monticello, Florida, man. And the land that I grew up on was the land that was given by the slave owner who had the children slaves. So before he died, he wrote his kids free and gave them all a piece of land on that plantation. And so of all that, that's the land that we come off on. So you're looking at maybe 5 generations of us on that land. So that sense of community is still there. Because somebody said I don't want to give the wrong person credit, but like, yeah, there was an uncle next door, aunties and uncles down the street. It was that, you know what I'm saying? So that raising community was definitely there for me growing up. A lot of people don't have that because they didn't grow up similarly. And like I know my mom is a little town in Jefferson County where she grew up at. It was similar, but a little bit different. But she had an auntie and uncle down the street, something like that. But it was because of small town USA, people didn't venture out that far. A lot of people didn't venture out that far. A handful did, but most of them didn't. So you grew up with that, and then that need of a male figure there. If the father didn't stay around, it was always an uncle or a brother who was there to step up, like, hey, I can take care of this for him, or auntie would be like, yeah, I could do that for her. So that sense of community is definitely, it is big on y'all that, hey, I'm not selfish enough to know that, hey, I can't do this on this side of it because I'm not that. That's where the family pulled in, like, oh, I got somebody over here who can do that. I know that. Let me reach out. And then y'all seeing like, yo, she needs me in this area because that's her kid, but that's also my nephew. And there's a vested interest for us to do this. So he could be the best him that he could be.
Great segue. This is what me and Colin was talking about. At the end of the day, and I was telling Hamilton this earlier as well, it's like this. When you have that blood tie, right, and you take on some children, right, it's one thing to adopt children that are not connected to you by blood. But if something were to happen to any one of my families, my sister, my brother, I know taking on their children is not just their children. That's my niece. That's my nephew. That's my family. So the resources are not going outside of my family. The resources are going, that is still my bloodline. That is still my bloodline. You get what I'm saying? And so that's why at the end of the day, I say, obviously, yeah, your friends that you choose can have more weight as far as your daily life in comparison to your family, right? Right. At the end of the day, like I tell people all the time, if it came between my family, I got to protect my family or protect my friend, I'm like, that's a bloodline over there.
Yep.
If they're all gone and I'm the only one left, then I'm the only one left in my bloodline. Protect your friends, you might be protecting somebody else's bloodline. Let me get to these questions. Let's go to
there's some good comments in there, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I want to get to this. So Pierre, I want you to answer this next one. And Hamilton, Jay Samaj, you can as well, Bo. And then Drew, I'm gonna bring you up. Collins, you ready to go down for a few?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'll bring you down and give this bum a few
do like that, man.
I'm gonna do it like that. Give me come forward. Oh my goodness. Oh, what I just do? Hold on, I did something. I just made my screen huge. Oh, okay. All right, so Collins is there. Let's bring this guy up. Look. He already got mute and ban, whatever he got his name. All right. So let's get to these comments. A lot of great comments in here. So let's try to get through them quickly. Do you all think this challenge with family is because the typical households are broken now, meaning there's no structure on family, so there's no loyalty or reason to be or stay loyal? Dang, Valer, coming with it. Who wants to answer that question quickly? Let's get to it.
There's some credence to that. I think with the lack of structure brings chaos, and it's who you're loyal to. And unfortunately, in today's world, sometimes you have friends that treat you better than family. And that word, I think the word family in a dysfunctional household or family gets thrown around loosely. It's used as a tool to exploit. You know, usually when you guys are saying that, you know, family, you guys have a great poster child textbook, you know, example of, you know, how things are supposed to work. But unfortunately, you know, when you have family members or larger family, you have multiple characters, and you have some people that it's just all about them, and they'll use that term to exploit you in the name of family. So it's a tough one, and when the word right there that's crucial for me is loyalty, or reason to stay loyal, especially when you know you only hear from certain people whenever they want something. Family. You know, so that one, that's deep. I think that's when you talk about it being broken. When you talk about a broken family, that right there, I think of that example where you have people that, you know, they'll use that term just to get in. I mean, what if it's, you know, you have people who are still toxic, you know, they're a quote unquote family, but you got to kind of accept them because.
And I would say good response, and it was such a great response. I have to mute you. Jay Samad, you got something on that?
I just want to add that sometimes you have situations where your friends actually become your family. Like people have friendships that are actually like, that's my like y'all remember the Titans, right? Where the white dude on there and the black dude on there became like they're like brothers. He said, that's my brother. Just a movie reference, but you really have friendships like that. I really like that's my brother. So you say family, you got the blood tie family, yes, but then you have family that's just my family based off your relationship.
Dr. Pierre, you got something to fill on that? I'll get you, Bo, after that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm waiting.
So, I was going to ask to you guys, what is the definition of loyalty?
What do you say?
The definition of loyalty, because everyone is saying that people aren't being loyal. Some people won't be loyal to their family. But what's the definition of loyalty?
I want to go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is your definition of loyalty?
Yeah, because it's broad. It depends.
Exactly. It depends on everybody. So what I would consider loyal, somebody may say, you know, that's not to them, right?
And that brings it brings me back to what I said earlier, is that villages, tribes had a code of conduct, rules, regulations, guidelines on how they were going to run their tribe, right? We do it in the government as well. We do it in the systems. All systems and organizations establish a set of rules and guidelines, except family and friends. One of the biggest organizations and systems that you will belong to in your lifetime. So when you establish a friendship with a friend, did you sit down and establish what a friendship is? Did you establish what loyalty means? Did you establish what friendship means? No, we just become friends. We're like, hey, we're friends. And the next you know, he's talking to your ex-girlfriend. And you're like, dude, that's not what friends do. He's like, what? I did that with my last friend. What are you talking about?
No,
exactly.
Because you may say that, but there are friends who don't care if you talk with their ex. And there are friends that do. And if you don't establish what we're talking about is establishment. I'm not talking about whether it's right or wrong. I can care less. It's about, did you establish these things when you all first started becoming a family, a friendship? Did you establish those things? And the reason why it hurts when family does it, because they're so close to you, but at the same time, did your parents in the household, whoever's running the household, did they set God? I remember my mom used to say this, and Hamilton and Bo know this: what goes in this house stays in this house. Remember that? What goes in this house stays in this house. Don't you
I ain't even kidding y'all. I heard that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What goes on in this house stays in the house. You don't go to school and be talking about all that. No, what goes on in this house stays in the house. That's rule number one. Keep your mouth shut. Don't be telling anybody your business, right? But what other guidelines could parents set in the household to establish what loyalty is, to establish what friendship is? Like Hamilton said, Jason Ma said, loyalty is a very broad. There's a very broad definition to loyalty, and it can mean a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. At the end of the day, whoever's in that relationship has to establish that.
I wanna go back to the question. Do y'all think the challenge with family is because typical households are now broken?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of it, but I ain't gonna put a but on the add too. Also, from just from my experience, I think it's my theory. I think a lot of family issues happen because a particular family member doesn't think that you or whoever is living up to that potential of what the family could be or what they have set for you. And that's where a lot of strife can come in. That's the stuff that I've seen. Like case in point on my dad's side a lot. My dad's side is they harp on education. My dad's side is big on education. So if somebody in the family like, you know what, I want to do a trade, that gets a funny look over there because no, you need to be in college. Your brain works like this. I see you for college, and
not everybody.
That could be a problem. That's some of the stuff that I know everybody's family dynamic different, but I wonder if that could be a key. Like, hey man, I don't like the way you raising your kid. You know that child should be doing this and this right now. Nah, because your uncle did this, your uncle did this, your auntie did this. That child should be here, 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 instead of how you raising your child, because a certain person can raise their child a little bit different.
And some of those families are, in economics, you call those traditional families. Like, so sometimes if your dad's a farmer, they want you to be a farmer.
Yeah.
Right? Traditional structure. And if you go outside of that structure, then you're breaking the traditional family structure. Go ahead, Bo.
For me, I think that the structure of the family starts with a member of the older generation. So what I mean by that is my grandmother, her mother died when she was young, and she never really knew her father. Our grandfather was the youngest child out of 20 kids, and his family was very tight. Because of that, when they start having kids, they had 11 children. They wanted their family unit tight. So my grandmother, and grandfather passed that on to their kids, and their kids have, their differences and everything, but the core of them is to keep their family tight. And that was passed on to us. And then we turned around and passed it on to our children. So I think for us, it started with our grandparents. And I think for other people, every family has this difference, but what keeps their structure is somebody older in a generation is like, we have to stay together, and that trickles down to where everyone is like that. I'm not saying that someone in a younger generation can do that, but it's kind of harder for them because the older ones, they keep their brothers and sisters, they keep up with each other, the grandparents, they keep up with each other. For us, like, we're all spread it around, so it'd be hard for us if we didn't have that to be like, oh, I think we all should, it'd be hard. And two, like I said, for my grandmother, she don't even know all her family, so her kids, what I'm saying, and her husband was her world, because she really, she know her grandparents, but other than that, she doesn't know. So I think that's a problem too. With families being broke, separated and everything, in the older generation, it can be hard for them to be structured and tight now, because you have so many people, you have people that we have a brother out there, but we really
right,
don't
bro.
know
All
much
right, you
about
get
him.
muted. You saying you putting too much of our family business out there. You are officially muted.
Jamare,
Right. You just out here
This is
put my whole family business out on the street, bro. Like,
Jamare,
dude, I should remove you from the stream right now. All right.
you asked you said something profound, and I like to ask
As I
you why.
often do.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
don't. No, you don't.
You said that whenever a child or a young adult tries to break from the family tradition, so let's suppose the entire family were construction workers, and then you had one of them that wanted to be a healthcare provider. Why is it the elders look at that one individual different in terms of as though they're more or less not necessarily a disgrace, but they're not loyal to the family?
Go ahead.
It's a matter of breaking protocol, and some people,
I'm listening. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, breaking protocol, and I mean, you have to understand as human beings, we don't like being challenged. We don't like when people go against the grain. We don't like you being different. And their comprehension for some people, if this is the trade as like a basketball player, you expect a basketball player's kids to be great at basketball or to be superstars. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I look at Michael Jordan. None of his sons are in the NBA. They work with him at Jordan Brand, but I'm almost sure somebody would argue, hey, they should be doing that. And whenever you break protocol, people don't like that because their comprehension can't see somebody else going in another direction. If all I know is fishing, I can't see somebody else gonna be a computer engineer. That's foreign.
So I'll just play devil's advocate and give some pushback about the traditional family, right? Because most human civilization, that's how we started, with traditional families, right? And so what happens when you get that, you do get the breakdown of the traditional family, and you step into what we have now, which is the mixed market economy, things of that nature, right? But what happens is this: it's a good and sometimes it could be a bad thing. So there's pros and cons of both. If we've established an estate where we are farmers and we have a great estate, and I have one son, and my son doesn't want to be a farmer, he wants to do something totally different, then what happens is it could be a breakdown of the estate. So I can't pass it on to him because he doesn't want to take it on, right? It could be a good thing, maybe he goes off to branch off and do something else, or it could be a bad thing where that whole estate falls apart because the father or the family members don't want to take care of it no more, which happens today. A lot of generations have been hoodwinked out of their property that their family had in their name for years. And since they didn't want to manage the property or to really understand how to manage property, right? Someone swooped in and bought it for nothing. And now they're looking back a couple of years later, it's like, wow, I didn't learn this when my father's trying to teach us these things. So there are pros and cons to traditional family. And I'm going to get to the rest of these questions real quick. There's a lot.
Can I add something?
If you can do it in 30 seconds.
Also too, it can be a cultural thing. You have some cultures who expect, their lineage to be doctors and lawyers and everything. And when somebody goes against that, it's like, we're past the farming and all that. Now we want to bigger things, and we don't understand why you do that. And some cultures are like that. They expect more from their children.
More? Come on, man.
Who's that? What happened?
I'm messing with her. He said they expect more. I'm just messing with her. So doing something.
I mean, that's what they say. That's what they say. They say, we expect more from you than it.
I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you.
Oh,
all right. Yeah, he's a real life, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to look at the real life troll. That is what a real life troll looks like. He will troll. He will troll you into oblivion. Why? Because Drew just got time with his hand to troll the crap out of you.
I do not. I don't know what this guy talking about, but all right, whatever, man.
All right.
Whatever, dude.
I'm gonna skip through these rather quickly. So let's start with this because they trail off with these. A lot of parents are ready to kick their kids out of 18. Dr. Pierre shakes his head. No, Drew.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I left home at 18. and never returned. And if I could have gone back in time, I would have done it again, right? It was rough at first, right? I had some great people to help me along the way, and now, thank God, I can turn around and help them back now, right? Interestingly enough, I wanted to kick out all my kids at 18. I got my oldest son when he was like 8 weeks from 18, not 8 weeks, sorry, 4 weeks from 18, and I realized he couldn't cook. He didn't know how to handle finances. He couldn't even change a tire on a car, right? And so I said, you know what? I have to teach this young man how to be a man. So I don't think 18 years old is the standard anymore. I think it should probably be moved to about 23. Give them time to finish college and or start a business or make a plan for life.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah. Because the world has changed. You can't. When I was at 18, you don't find that anymore. Like I know guys that are 26 years old. One dude told me, he said he's 26. He said to me, he said, "Yeah, I have to figure it out. I'm getting booted off my mama's insurance." And I'm like, "What, dude? At 26, I was already on my second kid." Like, so the world has changed, right? At 23, I learned the difference between 22. I learned the difference between the different types of insurance. HMO, PPO, POS. You don't learn that nowadays at these ages. Yeah, trust me. Ask your average. Y'all know ask your average 23-year-old.
He's right.
If
I'm just saying that's crazy considering the information. I mean,
correct. It's different now. So kicking out your kid at 18, those days are done. If you kick them out at 18, they're going to struggle.
Go ahead,
well, I think it depends on your child. I didn't kick my kids out. Matter of fact, one of them is still living with me. She's 25. But she has a career and she has a head on her shoulder. But I instilled things in my children early. And although I had no plan of kicking my kids at 18, I don't know if I would have, I might not have been there until they turned 18. Like, as my mom always said, life is never promised. So for me, being a single parent, it was imperative that I instill life, lessons in my children early, just in case something happened and they do survive. I don't think you necessarily have to kick your children out at 18, but I do think you need to start teaching your children early how to do certain things. So if something happens to you, you know what I'm saying, or your spouse or whatever may care, at least if something happens, they can survive on their own. I see some kids now, 20, 25. I'm like you couldn't live. I don't even know why you're out here on the street. Like your life reflects that you didn't get taught nothing, and they're in their 20s.
And it all comes back to blood ties and family, because what a lot of parents don't realize is that is your bloodline. That is your lineage. Why would you send your bloodline out there and you yourself didn't teach them anything on how to survive out there in the wild? A mother bird is not going to kick their baby bird out until that bird can fly, right?
Fledgling.
Yeah. I think sometimes we as parents forget that we're raising adults. that child is going to be an adult. That's the seed that's going to be a human being, and that human being needs to be functional. A human being needs to, at the minimum, should be able to take care of itself at the minimum. I think sometimes we as a whole may forget that instead of that's just a little me, like, nah, this little me is going to be its own person. And I need to make sure that this person is able to take care of themselves first. And then if they see fit or they choose to be able to take care of a family.
Right. I agree.
It was something that Bo said earlier that kind of caught my attention when she mentioned about family being all over the place. And I think we have to realize that historically, especially in this country, not even just in this country, colonialism played a huge role in separating us from our kindred and traditions. You got to remember that a lot of that stuff, the separation, that concept, it's so, whatever concept of family we have is amalgamated and distorted into whatever they wanted it to be. And in this day and age, which I find ironic, is that we have the tools to remain more connected, but we're so self-absorbed and so disconnected. If you just think about the average person and how much time they spend on even social media, I'm guilty of it at some time, I'm not gonna lie to you. But how many of us actually use those tools to stay in contact? Like, there's no excuse not to FaceTime.
I do. I use them.
Listen, I'm a hermit by nature.
No, you're a clown by nature.
You see, my sister, we're gonna jump you on here, boy. Keep
on. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Music.
Blood ties, family ties, baby. You see it. You see it.
You see it. We a gang out here. The Clarington clan.
That's all right.
A whole gang.
Man, hey, these comments. Okay, so I gotta pause for a second. I'm gonna. I just learned about a genogram.
What?
Anybody know what a genogram is? So I never heard of it. So I'm gonna post it right here. She says, anyone families. Oh God, I think I'm gonna frag out. There it is. Nope. Is that it? Also too many. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? Am I frozen? All right, I lost it. Let me find it. Oh, there it is right there.
The genogram.
There it is right there. It's a lot of comments in here. I think I'm flooded. All right, it's taking forever.
No, we see it. I don't know what a genogram.
Yeah, I mean, I see the question.
Anyone familiar with a genogram? So they say a genogram. Let me scroll all the way down to Rosemary. Thanks for Rosemary for giving us some new vocabulary. It's a detailed family tree. I'm scared to load it up because it might mess me up. It's a detailed family tree that looks not only at lineage, but also designates details on quality of relationships between family members, medical history, circumstances of death, etc. Wow. She then says you can YouTube it. You see things are really you see the things that are really passed down: substance use, divorce patterns, absent parents. Wow, that's a lot.
That's crazy.
What part of that will be genetics, and what part of that will be culture?
What do you mean?
I mean, substance abuse.
Oh, you know, one of the things that when they talk about generational curses, because it's mentioned here in the comment area. Me and my sister were talking earlier. My other sister was talking about getting some checkups and things like that, because as family members, y'all have similar genes, and similar genes are what's the word I'm looking for? Are susceptible to certain cancers and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I want to say in the chat of our family group chat that I didn't say is, guys, I eat differently from y'all. I exercise all the time. Like, so, but hold on, Bo, and I don't drink. So a lot of the stuff and I don't live a sedentary lifestyle. So a lot of stuff that, genetically you may be susceptible to certain things, but your lifestyle, like, so people say, oh, I had high blood pressure. My mom had high blood pressure. Yeah, that blood tie is there. But guess what? Are you still eating the same thing that your mom ate? Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was meaning about cultural. Like I say, the trait will be case in point for us on my side, in my family dynamic is I have a sickle cell trait. I'm not a carrier, but I got the trait. Got it from my dad, got it from his dad, blase. That goes through the family line. Like, there's a sickle cell trait that runs in me. So I have to, if I'm dealing with anybody, I got to make sure, hey, if we do have a kid, I carry a sickle cell. I carry the sickle cell trait. I mean, that's that. I mean, that's the only thing really I can think of genetically, you know what I'm saying, other than my makeup and height. eyesight maybe. I mean, I don't know.
There's these comments there are a lot of comments today. They're going on their own conversation. I can't keep up. I'm looking at it. They're going in. They're really going in. So I will say the last thing Rosemary says, statistically, your chance of developing a substance use problems increases if a parent struggles with substance use. This is true. And I think it's two things that can happen, right? So my parents smoked cigarettes up until I would say for 30 years plus, and then eventually they stopped, right? Both of them stopped. My mom recently passed of cancer. So when we grew up them smoking, I developed an adverse feeling towards smokers. Like I can't stand that. I always, come home, hide my mom's cigarettes. She used to get mad and threaten to kill me. But two people in our family, one at the bottom right, who I shall not name, decided to pick up on smoking too. And I'm like, how do you pick up on smoking when we were against that as kids? And then my other brother that's not on here, he started smoking as well. So I did not smoke. Matter of fact, it's that I've never smoked anything in my entire life because of my parents smoking. You know what I'm saying? So I went in the totally opposite direction and decided I am not going to partake in any of those activities. Same, bro. Okay.
Okay, to my defense, I didn't smoke because my parents smoked. I was anti-smoking. I went through a trauma, and during that trauma, somebody gave me a cigarette. And without thinking about it, I smoked it. And after that,
you're muted. Yep, there you go. You're muted. There you go. You're muted. You're muted.
By the way,
all right. Drew, I'm about to bring you down for a sec. Collins, you got something to say? You got something to add? This was a great conversation. There's a lot more that we can continue to go on about. The comment section went crazy. I'm proud of that. We got Princess in the comments, Rosemary, the Ray family. We have Valère that was in here. We have C Rider. They're going crazy in these comments. I can't keep up. I definitely can't keep up tonight with all the comments. But this is something I think that we can continue to talk about. Have another discussion about easy solutions. Release it under. Oh, okay. That we can continue to talk about, because again, like I said, there are a lot of broken families because I think we don't hold and we take for granted what a family is. And somebody asked a question earlier in the comments. They said, what is family? How do we define family? And I think you have to establish that as a family. When you come together and you decide, okay, this is what we're going to proceed and believe is our family. And some of the things that me and my brother and my sister do is anything, and everybody knows I consider, I do have friends that I consider family as well, but my main focus is always as a family to bring my family and friends together to build something like we're doing right now. Building something, wanting to promote people's businesses, want to help people, go to the next level in what they're doing. And sometimes that's a gift and a curse, because you could be helping people that don't want to be helped, or you can be helping people that are just leeches and they don't want to do anything for you. But when it comes to my brother and my sister, that's what my loyalty will always be to them first. That's my family. You know what I'm saying? And Drew, I'm about to drop you down.
That's fine.
Bring Collins back up.
That's fine.
Say goodbye. Do you got any work? We about to end it anyway. I appreciate you coming on as usual.
Oh nah, man. Just keep the pettiness. That kills. I think a lot of the issues families have today are brought on by people's inability to stay in their lane and to stop being self-serving and petty individuals. That's what causes the destruction. If you look at any empire, it's always jealousy, selfishness, and individualistic ambitions that are not altruistic towards the family. So yeah, that's it.
Look at you. So you want to give us these profound statements before you try.
Nah, it's the truth.
You think you're smarter than all of us? You're muted. You think you're smarter than us using these big words and stuff?
Yeah, I just saw a mute and ban the host.
I like messing with him. Tim, you got any last words?
I had a quote. I heard a quote, and I hope I don't butcher it, but it was going along with broken families. And one of the comments that I had, I wanted to say the quote to it. Tough times create strong men. Strong men create weak times. No, create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. And so I think they kind of put in that line with the struggle. That's what made me think about it. We don't want our kids to struggle, but I guess that what adversity is needed somewhere. I don't know what percentage of adversity and easy time is to make a better human being and to strengthen up that family, but adversity is needed for that growth. So I don't think we need to like make it easier or anything like that, but just give our kids the tools to build stronger families. That's it.
Appreciate. First of all, let's give a shout out to my boy Tim, because he all snuggled up in the blanket and everything.
Hey man, listen, dog, I'm in a truck, man. Bro. All right,
He
so
been in the truck all day.
I'm in Arkansas. I got the I got the AC going. I'm getting comfortable as I can get in here. All right.
Listen, I appreciate. I hit up Tim early on Facebook. I said, man, you going? He said, man, I'm gonna make sure I pull over and get it in, man. So I appreciate you for coming in, man. I really do.
Yeah, man.
No problem.
Jay Samaj, you've been a little side. What's going on, man? What's going on? You hiding. First of all, he lied to us earlier because he did hold a grudge and he wanted to tell us all the. You don't want to be Bo and tell all our family business out here on the street. You know what I'm saying? What mama say? What goes on stays in the house and you up here breaking it because you want to cook out. Nah, man. Go ahead, Jay.
You know who it is, Jay Samaj. I got music on Instagram. Follow Jay Samaj Music on Instagram. That's it, y'all. How you gonna up and leave me?
I don't know what he's right now. Today. This boy tried to bust out a saying. Boy, go ahead, Colin.
Oh man!
Hey, let that man promote his album, dog. You a hater, Clarington. Let that man promote his album, man.
You know what? You get off here. Go ahead, Collins.
Yeah, I just wanted to end with a goodbye and say thank you to everybody that was, here, and to give y'all some tools and stuff like that. There's ways to break these generational curses that we do have. There are ways to improve the way that we are conflict resolution, scenarios that we have with our current families and friends as well. If you want to learn how to do some of those things and deal with some of them, generational trauma, childhood trauma, even just bolster better relationships so that you can grow your community with your family, because there's a lot of things that are possible. Like that family right there, this one that we're talking about right here in the Claringtons, man, they're getting ready to put on and try and build an entire, property and real estate business, being able to, just to manifest things that as individuals might be so much more difficult. And that's only possible when you were bringing, the skills to manage all of those different energies and all those different people and the bonds, and then deal with all of that trauma that's there with integrity, so that doesn't break apart, And so that's something that I'm willing to offer for you guys that are out there. Just go ahead and you can email me at myrelationshipworks@gmail.com so that you can start getting those generational curses off your back and get some generational blessings grown and multiplied. Because that's the other part that we didn't really touch on, is that there's some awesome things that we all have because of our family and our bloodline. Like, all of these people are all like, they're amazing writers, they're natural leaders. Like in their communities, they're natural leaders, like each one of them.
And right? So, Collins, before we go, that's another. So do you think we focus too much on generational curses?
Yeah,
we don't focus on the generational bless. Dude, that's another topic. We're gonna do that topic next.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, because you could really
focus. I hear generational curses so much, but I rarely hear about the generational stuff that your parents passed on to you.
Yeah,
like we have a very musical family, although I can't. But we have a very musical fan. Hold on, Jay Shamar, hit us with one more. Hit us with one more note, Jay. Hit us with one more. Hit us with a note. One more note. Go ahead. You better.
I got many different ways to please you, baby.
All right, you muted. There you go. There you go.
Can't
give him too much. Can't give him too much.
Don't do my little brother. Don't do my little brother.
Oh, that's what we're going to title Generation. Somebody need to write a book about generational gifts. That's a good book.
Yeah. That's what,
I think the reason why people focus on that, though, they use it to justify their ineptitude.
Here you go, trying to be all philosophical and smart.
No, the truth.
Mute this man right now.
It is something really awesome that once you learn about the blessings that your family has bestowed upon them, you can maximize those. Like,
we're saving it. You're muted, Collins. We're saving that for another talk. We're saving it. You're muted. Go ahead, Bo.
I just want to end with, as a single parent, growing up without the father in the home, single moms. Yes, it's hard, but there's resources that y'all need to use to better your structure in your home. Please seek that out for your children's sake, because for our future to be better and our children to have a better future, it starts with us. Whoever's in the home, be it single dad, single mom, both parents, it starts with us, and we have to learn to do better so they can do better.
And to piggyback off you, Bo, I think what we got to go back, and if you really want to have that, you have to establish those rules and guidelines. And I don't want to, when I say rules and guidelines, I know it comes sometimes with a negative connotation, but not the ones that restrict your children, but the ones that allow your children to be creative and thinkers, right? My dad always told us, he said, I'm not raising you to be anything other than a thinker. You can think, you can think your way into any situation, out of situation, as long as you have a good head on your shoulders. There's nothing that you can't do. So I think that you have to, hold on, I think that you have to establish those guidelines in your family right when you start having your children, right? And I think that's important. I think that's how we're going to continue to build your family up, get those, build those strong blood ties, because at the end of the day, what we learned, my mom and her sisters and brothers, there was like 11 of them, and they used to jump people. They used to jump. My mom used to start fights and run, and then her family would jump and beat that ass. So, and that's how we trying to be. When you run up on
a whole gang, it was a gang by themselves.
It's a gang by themselves. So, hopefully Jay Samaj get a couple cheering of his own someday. He should have populated the world a long time ago, but you know, we're not going to talk about that. All right. It was a great show. I appreciate everybody for being on. Again, see us again this Thursday, where the topics are going to be. You know, I don't know what the topics are going to be, but if you want to help in guiding some of these topics, join the Facebook group on the Online Cookout. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok and everything else. So that's the end of the show. I appreciate everybody for coming on. Tim, Jason Maj, Collins, Bomecka, and you can find all the things that these lovely people do in the description below.